There is something that nobody really prepares you for when a relationship ends. Not the logistics, not the legal side of things, not even the grief of losing that person. It is this the strange, disorientating experience of knowing something is right, knowing it needed to end, maybe even feeling relieved in moments and still yet not being able to let go. And then feeling ashamed of that. Because if you know it is right, why is it still feeling so hard? Why do you keep returning to it in your mind? Why does your body still brace every time your phone lights up? Why does moving forward feel like something you have to convince yourself to do every single day? That's what I want to talk about today. Not to tell you that time heals everything, not to give you a list of things to do, but to explain what is actually happening because understanding it changes things. My name is Clare Deacon. I'm a positive psychology and nervous system specialist, and this is the Happya Life podcast. I want to be very specific about the feeling I'm describing because it's one that women often feel alone in. You ended it, or you knew it needed to end, and on one level, you are clear. You know in your mind that it was not right. You know in your mind that you made the best decision for your life. And then something happens. A song, a place you used to go, a message, a moment of seeing something they would have found funny, and you are back in it. The pull is physical, not just emotional. Your chest tightens, your mind starts revisiting. The logic of why you left just doesn't touch it. You tell yourself to be stronger, to stop going back there, to move on already. But going back is not weakness. It's not a sign you made the wrong decision. And it is not something you can logic your way out of. Notice what happens in your body when you think about the relationship right now. Not the thoughts, but the actual physical response. That tightening, pull, that's something that is your nervous system speaking, and it's saying something important. Your nervous system does not understand logic, it understands patterns, safety, and familiarity. When you are in a relationship for a significant period of time, your nervous system learns to organize itself around that person. They become part of your internal landscape, part of what feels like normal. Your body calibrates to their presence, their moods, even their unpredictability. When the relationship ends, your nervous system does not receive the memo. It does not process, this is over, it is right. It processes something familiar has gone, and that can feel like danger. This is why you can know completely and clearly that leaving was right and yet still feel the pull. The pull is not about them, it's about your nervous system searching for what it knew. And here is the layer underneath that. The one that matters most for understanding why letting go is genuinely so hard. You did not just lose a person, you lost the version of yourself that existed inside that relationship. Over time, inside any long term relationship, your identity gets woven into the other person, how they saw you, how you showed up for them, the routines, the patterns, the unspoken understandings. That version of you does not have anywhere to go when the relationship ends. And your nervous system, which understood who you were in that context, is now in unfamiliar territory. You are not just grieving a person, you are grieving an identity. And that grief is legitimate. And it takes time. And it does not disappear just because you know logically that the decision was right. I want to be honest with you about what happens if this stays unexplored. A lot of women I speak to after a relationship ends go through a very long period of cycling, going back to the thoughts, revisiting the conversations, wondering what they could have done differently. Staying connected to someone who is not good for them because the disconnection feels worse than the connection. And that cycling keeps them in survival, not moving forward, not building something new, just managing. If that continues long enough, something quietly shifts. The woman who needed to leave to reclaim herself ends up smaller than she was before because she has spent so much energy managing the aftermath that there is nothing left to build with. Here is what I've seen on the other side of this work, though. Women who came to me in exactly this loop, unable to let go, even when they knew they should, unable to stop returning to a relationship that was costing them everything. After doing this work properly, those same women describe mornings where their first thought is not about their ex partner. They describe making decisions about their own lives, their own needs, without reference to what that person would have thought. They describe saying no to contact, going back to one more conversation and feeling solid in that, no matter what the expectation is, rather than feeling guilty about it. They describe knowing what they want for the first time in years because they have stopped organizing their identity around someone else. This is not wishful thinking. That is what becomes possible when you understand what is actually happening and work with it rather than against yourself. Letting go is not a decision you make once. It's a process your body has to go through. The most important thing you can do is stop treating the pull as evidence that you made the wrong decision and start treating it as information about what your nervous system still needs to process. That means grieving not just the relationship, but the identity that you had inside of it. Asking yourself, who was I in there and who am I now? What parts of myself did I set aside and what would it feel like to stop setting them aside? It means noticing the moments when you feel most like yourself outside of the relationship's shadow and paying attention to them. They are telling you something about where you are heading. And it means getting honest about the patterns that led you to this relationship in the first place. Not to beat yourself up about them, but because understanding the pattern is what stops it from repeating. If this has landed somewhere real for you today, I want to say something clearly. You do not have to figure this out alone, and you do not have to stay in the loop indefinitely. Cuppa and a Chat is a free conversation with me, No commitment, no pressure to decide anything. If a part of you is thinking that you have been in this loop for long enough, it is worth finding out whether working together is right for you and a good next step. You could book at happiercoach.com/chat. You do not have to decide today, though, but don't ignore this either. A new episode is released every Wednesday, so I will see you next week. Take care.